Good to see everybody here tonight. We're going to go ahead and get started. We've got a couple of things in the oven. One thing that we're not going to give you the recipe for tonight, but I can tell you real quickly how to make it. We've got one in the oven right now. Anybody like brie cheese? We have a baked brie in the oven right now. It's a baked brie with an apple filling in the center of it. It's wrapped in two pastry crusts, so we're excited about having that. That'll be out in just a minute. If you see smoke come out of the oven, you know it's done. And so just let me know. You all can see that better than I can. But no, we've also got two frittatas that we're going to talk a little bit about tonight. We've already got them in the oven, and we're going to make another one though. And so I've got two different versions in the oven. One I have is just a plain egg frittata. What you have the recipe for is a potato cheese frittata we're going to do. This one I have in the oven is an egg and ham and cheese and potato frittata. It's got a lot of stuff in it. The other one has a bread base to it. A lot of you have had a egg casserole that has the bread and the eggs and everything, and it's more like that than one we have in here. The great thing about these is you can make these on the night before Christmas if you're going to have a Christmas brunch, and that's what the theme of today is our Christmas brunch. And you can wake up on Christmas morning and you can throw it in the oven and you're done. When it gets through, you're done. It's a real easy dish to prepare ahead of time, as you're going to see. A lot of people, I like to cook my ingredients ahead of time before I put it in. A lot of people like the raw vegetables in theirs. I'm going to cook it ahead of time though and show you how to do it that way. So we're going to go ahead and get started. What I've done, you'll see your recipe, is I've got 4 potatoes, and I went ahead and parboiled these. I went ahead and peeled them and cubed them, and I've cooked them up. And that saves in time when you're cooking. You don't have to fry your potatoes as much. And I'm going to put those in and get those started. I like a lot of potatoes. I'm a hash brown person. When I order hash browns, I like them just about on the verge of being burnt. One thing I forgot to put in, though, is my vegetable oil. Okay? That's no big deal. We just put a little bit in and get it started. You're going to see how easy this is. Most of you know I'm going to put some green peppers in. I'm going to turn my eye on. That always helps. I'm going to take some onions and I'm going to put them in. And your recipe says a half a cup. If you really like onions, use onions. If you really like a lot of peppers, use pepper. I'm going to put some mushrooms in. Okay? Everybody like mushrooms? Anybody not like mushrooms? We got some in the oven for you. Okay? So we're going to put some mushrooms in. And I have ham sitting here, but we're not going to put ham in this one. I'm going to tell you why. It's this lady right here's fault. No. Her family are vegetarian. Actually, they're vegans, correct? And they do not eat anything of animal product, period.
Except free-range eggs.
Except for free-range eggs.
4 chickens in their backyard.
Oh, okay. And how free-range are they?
They get 1 egg a day.
1 egg a day.
From each one of them.
Okay.
So
4 eggs. And how many of them are they?
3.
Okay, so they got an extra egg, don't they, in case they drop one and break it. All right, okay. Okay.
Got attacked by a hawk.
Chicken hawk?
Today. Yeah.
Oh.
So she hid up in the loft.
Okay, all right.
Well, my son-in-law builds kaleidoscopes, not kaleidoscopes. What are those things you look at the stars with?
Yeah, telescope.
Yeah, telescope. So she hid up there.
Okay. We're going to season. We're going to go ahead and season our mixture with a little bit of salt, and a little bit of pepper, and just a little bit. And what the salt will do is the salt will help this sweat down, especially if your skillet is good and warm, like mine's supposed to be. And but it is not. So it's going to take just a second on this. And we're just going to mix everything up. We're going to get a spoon, and I picked a funny little spoon here to use, but that's okay. We're going to get that good and started. And while that's started, like I said, you can put anything you want in it. You can put any vegetables, any meats. You can use tofu. You can use any sausages. Pepperoni is really good. I like pepperoni in mine. Anything that you like with eggs is really good. Sarah back here makes one, usually for around Christmas time too, isn't it? And she makes casseroles when she has company. I know she makes them a lot for company, and the reason being is you can do these, like I said, ahead of time, and they're real easy in the mornings when you wake up and you don't really feel like cooking a lot. You can go ahead and get these started. Now I hear things sizzling here, so we're getting along the way here. Let's get everything stirred up here a little bit. And that'll get going. And you really don't want to cook your potatoes too hard or anything when you're doing this, because remember, you are going to go to the oven with this. We didn't go to the oven with the skillet that we had before, because the skillets we have up here, the one that I didn't use, the one that I did use is not oven proof. So, so I messed up a little bit right there. But what you generally would do is you're going to cook these, and you're going to cook them till they're done on the bottom, and then you're going to place them in the oven. And then you're going to finish them off in the oven. The two that I have in the oven right now are just about done. And I put them in casserole dishes. One's in a glass and one's in the middle, a lot like this, like a 9x13 casserole dish. If you're going to make them ahead of time, that's a great way of doing it. You don't want to cook them like this with the eggs in it ahead of time if you do them the night before, for the simple fact that it's going to dry your eggs out. You can, but it's nothing like reheated eggs. I mean, they're just going to dry out, and it's not going to be that great. So you want to wait till the next morning to do your eggs. Let your ingredients cool down. And after your ingredients cool down, you can add your eggs and then stick it in the refrigerator, and it'll be ready for the next day. We've got a... Yes, anything, any kind of egg whites. You know, if you just want egg whites or the egg scramblers, which are an egg-like product, anything like that you want to use, you can. Yeah, it comes in the carton is what you're talking about, correct? Yeah, and you just straight from the carton, just pour it out like what. That's what. These are real eggs, so you know I've whisked them, but you can. And another thing that you can do with it is you can add cream or milk to your eggs, and that'll, as you know, make your eggs fluffier, and it'll make them stretch a little bit longer too. The other purpose of doing the bread on the casserole is that's the same thing. It's kind of a filler, okay? And it gives you texture. It gives you a lot of texture when you're doing that too. So we're going to go ahead and add our eggs right now. Can you hear it cooking? Can you smell it cooking? You're going to taste it cooking here in a minute. So, I like just to spread it around. Got quiet, didn't it? All right. And we're just going to let that sit and use a non-stick skillet or a cast iron skillet. I like to use cast iron. I think I even put that on the recipe, it was cast iron. I like to use cast iron, and I like to use Crisco or good old-fashioned lard. Everybody like lard? Anybody use lard still? You know, you can buy pure lard here in the store. And, but you can use that in your skillets to keep it from sticking. And then you're just going to let it sit. And you're going to let it cook until you see the bubbles start coming up around where it's starting to cook. And then that's when you're going to transfer it into the oven. This one we have here tonight, probably what we're going to do, since the skillet will not go in the oven, we're just going to mix it up real good and make what my wife calls Keith's mess. And it's a bunch of ingredients with eggs mixed up together and cooked like a broken omelet, basically is what it is. And you can do many things with this, so just use your imagination. That to me is the greatest thing about cooking. I don't like to follow recipes strictly. I like to get the idea and get the technique down and then do what I like. I like things that are different sometimes, and you can see the bubbles are forming. Can you see that right there? And that's cooked egg, okay? And you're going to see that all over here in a little bit. It's starting to pop up everywhere. When that does all over, you're going to know about when to stick it in the oven. And let's see if we've got one ready yet. I believe we do. Not quite. We're almost there. Check our brie, and it's almost ready too. So we got about 5 or 6 more minutes on that. If Jessica will warn me when we're getting close on that. So you see how the edges of how our eggs are getting, and we can take our spoon. You can see that it'll pull away. See how it pulls? And one thing you do if you're going to cook it on the stove and you want to keep it kind of a uniform shape, is you can pull it away, okay, and then let your egg go back down in there, and see how it's all your raw egg that's on top is doing what? It's going back underneath where it'll cook. The great thing about this is if you use the right skillet and you use an oven-proof skillet, you don't have to do that. Okay, so we're going to let that. We're just going to go ahead and mix it up though. Why not, right? Key Smiths. You make a recipe and put Key Smiths on it. Okay. Everybody likes, and that's all it is. Scrambled eggs with toppings and stuff. It's a messed up omelet is all it is. It doesn't have to look great to taste great. It won't go over, will it? I'm not as good as I thought it was, am I? Try to get that off the bottom there. All right. One thing that you can do when you're cooking it like this too is you put a lid on it. Basically what a frittata is, if you've not caught on by now, a frittata is a baked omelet. That's what it is. We're just about there with this. See how it gets a good crust on the bottom of it? That's from your potatoes and your cheese and everything. Okay. I believe we're there. This looks really good. I'm going to pull this out and we'll move this mixer over since we're done with it. And I'm going to pull this out and I'm going to set it right here. That way everybody can see it. This is the one without bread. Okay, can you see it? Yeah. This is the one with bread. See the difference in the volume? Exactly, how much fluffier this one is. And it's because your bread has soaked up the egg, and the egg cooks in that bread and makes it expand. And we're going to leave our brie in there just a minute longer. Just about 5 more minutes we're going to leave our brie in there. That brie recipe too, folks, it's really simple. We sell brie down in our cheese department that looks like a big donut. Unwrap it. I put mine in a pie pan. And I take and put a bottom crust in it. Set my brie in the bottom crust. Fold over the edges on top. Then take my other crust and put it on top, cut a hole in the center and the X and fold the sides down and up on the inside of it and then fill it with fruit. That's simply all it is.
At the time you bake it, you put the fruit in there?
I put my fruit before I bake it. I bake my fruit with it. Yes. You can use apples, you can use berries, you can use, we have a fig preserved in there that is really good. You can take that fig preserve and you can put it in the center of that and you can do it that way. Let's see if our brie, here it is. And there's our brie. You can see, now that's going to have to sit just a minute before we eat it. Why? It is lava hot. It is really good. If you like brie cheese, it's just like a big old cheese pie with apples in it. I mean, that's just a great thing. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to let you all go ahead and sample what we have back there right now. Just real quick before you do, we're going to get some pancakes back there just as soon as we can, and we'll go ahead and take our brie back there. It is rather warm, and so we're going to let it cool down. But, That is the Food Club brand of pastry. And what I've done, like I said, I've laid it out. As you can see, that's why I use glass. You can see the pastry in the bottom. I just put my brie in it. I folded up the edges, and I took my other one and I crimped everything down inside there. And I cut my hole out and added my apples into there. So you can eat it on crackers. You can eat it just like it is. You can eat it like your pancakes. You could spread this on pancakes.